OK，
Hello，Hello，各位大家好啊！我哋今日咧有一個新嘅嘗試啊，呢個樣得唔得意啊？我哋即係一個新嘅嘗試。咁咧我哋咧今日咧好榮幸咧，All Matters 咧邀請到咧美國嘅 RCD Melissa Poepping。Melissa Poepping 咧其實咧就係Hello Melissa，so
Hi.
I'm trying to introduce you as Royal Crown Diamond from Young Living, and she's also the founder of our Savvy Minerals. And we all know that Savvy Minerals is going to be departing us, and very soon Melissa is going to have some surprise for us, right?
Yes.
So we're very honored to invite you to speak with us, our Oil Matters group. And Joanne, do you want to talk about how you met Melissa as well?
Oh, I think you remember too. It was our first diamond retreat, right?
Though in France.
Yes, in France. And we were in the bus together. Oh, I remember I met you. I saw you the first time at welcome dinner. And you were way taller than me, but way beautiful. And I remember how you told me that you've started Young Living. Well, back then it was like 13 years ago, I think, which is now has been 23 years, right? You've been with Young Living 23
Yes.
years. Wow. That's like you started back in 2000, right? Yeah.
1998.
Wow, that's like 25 years.
Wow.
I know.
Wow,
90.
And then I remember, I don't know if it's
I started building my business in 2010. So I used the oils for about 10 years before I ever started, 12 years before I ever started sharing. So because I was afraid to. So
yes, and then I remember we were on the bus together, and you were sharing with me how you're having, because you just made diamond and you were having trouble with one of your teammates who was a builder, and I think it's okay to talk about that story a bit, right? You're having difficulty communicating with her, and she would come to your meetings, but we call in Chinese sending negativity, 放负,
yes,
in the meeting. And you tried to talk to her, you tried to be very nice, but she was just very stubborn. And so I said, hey, why don't you use the feelings kit? She won't listen to me. I said, no, just put feelings kit on her name. And you're like, what? I said, yeah, I don't know, just try it, right? And I remember the next time you saw me and you said, you know what? I didn't even have to do that. I just had to put the intention of the feelings kit or something. And she switched around or something like that. I was like, oh, wow. I need to probably do it again.
You know, I love everybody, and I just want everyone to be happy and be in harmony. And and when they're not, it's sad. And so, I should probably do that again. But it was so interesting because you're like, just write her name down and just drop the oils. And it was a very specific, I don't actually think it was the feelings kit, but there were some very specific oils from that kit and some very specific emotional oils. And you're like, just drop it on a piece of paper. And Joanna, I didn't realize at the time, because I had just started studying mindset and in all of this beautifulness that comes with it. But it's all about the intention and the energy that we put forward towards somebody, right? Because that's received. Like instinctively, we know if we're welcome in a room or if we're not. And I had no idea that just by me thinking she had a problem or thinking she had resistance, it was then making me be standoffish, and she was feeling that. So she was being standoffish, and then I'm like, I'm so sad. Why is she being standoffish? But it was the holding pattern of my thoughts. And you really helped me to understand how to like unleash that and break that through. And so you were one of the first key people, really. It was pivotal on my journey of understanding just the whole intention and the energy we can hold towards somebody, because nobody in my world ever spoke like that. But like, energy, or, you know, to feel somebody's vibration, or to feel that magnetic connection with someone, or to heal someone through their emotions that way. But I always knew that was there, right? Like I could, even from a young child, I could walk into a room and feel like a disconnect, or feel if I should be there or not, or feel if I was welcome or not. And I spent most of my childhood and teenage years feeling not welcome in a room. And I would hold my arms like over my stomach a lot. They never protecting your central, your solar plexus, right? Just instinctively. So until you really talked about it in such an open and beautiful way, that was one of my first experiences with, oh my gosh, so much in my life all of a sudden makes sense.
Well,
So,
I think it's also when you're putting the oils, you're actually also using the oils on yourself, right? You're not just
yes. Yeah. But if you never would have spoke to me about that, and you had no idea who I was, you had no idea if I thought that way, you had no idea what my religion was, you had no idea if I would be open to receiving information like that, you had no idea. You just spoke freely, and you spoke from your heart. And it was like the trajectory point that changed so much of my path. If you never would have done that, I'd still be sitting here. Why is she so stubborn? Why does she not want to come to things? Why does she hate me?
Well, we never know, right? And the thing is, I think the three of us all just have to say something if we know that we may be able to help other people, even if they say no, even if they're not receptive of our ideas. Okay. So
like, what's the worst that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
What is the worst that's going to happen?
It's true.
They won't talk to me. They won't talk to me more than they already weren't talking to me.
That's true.
If this person already didn't like what I was doing, were they going to not like what I was doing even more? And would that affect me? And how would that affect me? It's amazing how much resistance we can have to really, step forward and to speak our truth. And when we are holding ourselves back that way, who's paying the biggest price, right? We do it because of our ego. We do it because we don't want people to think less of us. And that's ego. If I am worried about what you think of me, if I'm worried about what you're going to say afterwards, if I'm worried that you didn't like my outfit, or if you didn't like my hair, or if you didn't like my makeup, or if you didn't like, anything, if I'm worried about that, what am I going to do? I'm going to suppress that part of me. I want to be able to express that. We express ourselves through our fashion, through our hair. And this is where women, I love being a woman, because we can express ourselves through our makeup, through our hair, through our fashion, through our emotions, and we can change it so many times. Like, we're so multifaceted, right? And when you start to hold yourself back from any part of that expression, like, well, maybe I shouldn't wear that, or, maybe I shouldn't do my hair so fancy, or maybe I shouldn't do a full makeup, what are they going to say? And then they're going to talk, and, if I'm overdressed, or if I'm underdressed, or if I'm this, or if I'm that. And what are you really doing? You are making yourself less than who you are, less than who you feel you are, less than who you feel you want to be. And you can really only do that for so long before you have suppressed so much of yourself. And when you suppress, you are pushing that down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And if you do that enough, and there's like nothing of you left, that's where you have anxiety. That's where you have your stress. That's where you have your total bombardment. That's where you have your depression. It's because you don't know who you are anymore, and you don't know how to express yourself anymore. And you've just been played around like a ping pong ball by what you think she thinks you should be, and what you think he thinks you should be. And then all of a sudden you don't know yourself anymore. And so what happens? You become totally disconnected from yourself. And when you disconnect from yourself, you disconnect from source.
Mm.
And that's the really scary part, because when you disconnect from source, you're lost. And source, that could be God, that could be Buddha, that could be Jesus, that could be Yahweh, that could be source is just spirit. I don't care what you believe in, but it's a power higher than yourself. That's what source is. And everyone has some piece of that. And when you get to that point and you feel like you can't express who you are anymore, it could be, that's the point at either people find themselves or they continue to spiral downward. So when people say like I hit rock bottom or couldn't get any lower than that, I just had a talk with a friend today about this, who's going through some things. And she had said, I just feel like there's nothing left of me. There's nothing left of me. And I said, but that's not true. What is left of you is the very best part of you. Because you've suppressed yourself for so long and buried those dreams, those goals, and those desires so deep down inside, that became at the very bottom layer somehow. And so now everything you've given and you feel like there's nothing left, you have shed so much of the opinions and the judgments and everything you were trying to be. So now what's left is your true essence, the true core of who you are. So now is your time to shine. And I think that's why when people go through really traumatic or abusive relationships, or if they're with a narcissist, or they're in a marriage where they've lost themselves or whatever might be happening, or they couldn't live their highest potential, I think that when those relationships come to an end, that's why you see that person flourish with such tenacity, and it happens so quickly. It's because they can finally access the true essence of who they are that they were holding inside and couldn't express. Now, here's the thing: you shouldn't wait for yourself to get to that point before you access that true essence. So because that's the most painful way to access it, right? That's through a traumatic experience. I love you, Joanne. That's the most painful way to get to that core of who you are. Okay. So how do you get there today? You have to shed the weight of the opinions of other people. You have to stop worrying about what somebody else is going to think or what somebody else is going to say. And you have to, it's making a decision. And you make a decision that today is my day one. And I'm just going to show up as her. I'm going to show up as that her that I have suppressed so far and deep down inside. I know what she was always supposed to look like. I know what she was supposed to be like. I know what she was supposed to feel like. All of it. I have full body chills. My chills have chills right now. And this is where we get like almost that rebirth of ourself, right? It is the most freeing, most liberating, most amazing moment, because you get to step out as this person that's always been inside of you. But every single time you find yourself thinking, oh, I shouldn't say that. What are they going to think? And, oh, I shouldn't, they're going to talk and they're going to this. If you are afraid to be yourself, if you are afraid to let that fullest and most complete expression of yourself come to the surface, because you're worried about what the people around you are going to say and what the people around you are going to think, please listen to me and please hear this. You are with the wrong people. The single most powerful and amazing and most beautiful thing that you can ever do for yourself is to surround yourself with the people who will not settle for you being anything less than who you truly desire to be, and who will relentlessly pull that out of you every single day. Every single day. Our life is so short. If you think about it, it really is. I've been watching Rob Dyrdek is a podcaster in the US, and he's a TV show host. And he talks about how he's been talking about supercentenarians, which are people who far exceed the life expectancy. And he has a goal. He wants to live for 1 million, it's 1 million hours. Basically equates to being 114 years old. It's like 114 years, 108 days. He like has it down to the day. So he's made it his goal that he wants to do this. And Dan Bittner is an author who wrote a book called The Blue Zones. I'm sure you're all very familiar with that book or this movement now. And he has a show that is airing on Netflix. I highly encourage you to watch it. It's called Live to 100. And Dan has circled the globe. He used to be a photographer for National Geographic, and he rode bike on a tour across different parts of the world. And he started to notice that there were specific parts in the world where people lived a really long time, like longer than anyone else. And they were doing things at their age that nobody else their age was doing. Like 98 years old and getting on a horse and herding cattle, riding around like they were 60. And little old men in Okinawa, Japan, were walking up to the top of a mountain every day. No cane, no glasses, all their teeth, looking like they're 70. And he started thinking, what is going on? Because just 50 miles that way, they're not living this long. And he started walking through cemeteries, and he started noticing on the tombstones, on the headstones, in those specific areas, there were a lot of people living to 100 and beyond. And in the US, it's forever, or globally, nationally, around the world, it's for every 5 women that surpass 100, it's only 1 man. Go us. But in these blue zones, it was a 1-to-1 ratio. So something was going on. So he started researching, and he found the 5 key elements in every single blue zone in the world and what they were doing. And it was so neat because in Okinawa, they have something called Ikigai, which I've seen Gretchen post about. And she said, young living is her Ikigai, right? And just finding that true passion out of life, that every region had a specific food, every region had a specific mindset, and something special they did. And here's the most beautiful thing. In all the regions, every single one of them, they had a community of people that supported them and believed in them. And so when you think about live to 100, that's not a long time. I mean, that is a long time. That's a super centenarian, right? But 100 years actually isn't a long time on this earth to do all the things that we want to do and to feel all the things we want to feel. And I'm 45, and I think if I live to 100 and I figure out all these blue zone tricks, so it's a good 100, right? Not a crappy 100, but it's a really good 100. Because if I'm going to make it to 100, it's got to be I want to be on the horse like this other 100-year-old guy, right? Doing great things. I think it's almost already half over. Why would I want to spend a single second of that sacred time with somebody that would make me feel like I'm afraid to be who I truly want to be? Or with someone that would make me feel like I would be embarrassed or silly or foolish to be who I really, really, truly feel that I am? Someone who would tease me because I want to look pretty, or because I want to work out, or because I want to pour oils, in my drink, or down my throat, or in my hair, or wherever else it might be. Why would I want to spend a single second, when each second is so sacred and so special, on somebody who would make me feel less than I am? That seems so odd to me. And I just, some people don't discover this level of confidence until they're in their 50s. They say, well, the older you get, the more you just realize. I'm so grateful that I discovered that in my 30s. Really fully embraced it in my late 30s. And I'm even more grateful that my daughter, who's only 18, already does it because she's watched her mom. So she learned it at such a young age. And that's the beauty of what we do. But the caveat is, if no one sees us do it, they don't know to do it. If no one sees us show up as confident, they don't know how to be confident. And if nobody sees us talk confidently, they don't know how to talk confidently. If I would be too scared to show up here to speak to you, then you wouldn't know how I think. You wouldn't know how I feel. And you wouldn't be able to get any of these tips of wisdom. Isn't that crazy? If we don't speak, nobody would know where our heart is on things or how we do things or how to think differently. And I am only this way because of the people I've met in my life, including Joanne, who had no problem walking up to a total stranger taller than her. And she said, "You're just so tall." And just say, well, maybe if you write her name on a piece of paper and put oils on the paper, that will solve all the problems. And it did solve all the problems. There are times in my business where I am still afraid to show up. I'm still afraid to hit send on an email. I'm still afraid to do, some of those things because I'm human and I have feelings and I don't want them to be hurt. And I don't want to be laughed at, and I don't want to be mocked, and I don't want to be talked about. And even though I've really cleared out my circle and I only keep, the most highest level integrity people the closest, I have a very public life. So I have to, there's the reality that I might post this on social media and somebody might make fun of me because I think this way, or someone might tease me. And so every day I have to consciously work on removing those thoughts and just saying that I'm not here to be quiet and I'm not here to be convenient for everybody else. And I'm just, that's not what I'm here to do. Because then no one can watch me and no one can learn from that. And I love watching confident women. I love watching successful women. I love watching them, how they walk, how they talk, how they show up, because it's a lot of times how I learn. We have in the US something called Project Broadcast, and it's a mass texting service. So I can take everybody in my Young Living organization and I just put their number into a system, and then I type up a text message and off it goes to all of them. And there's a lot of people when you're texting 50,000 people, there's 1,000 or 2,000 that don't like text messages and have no problem telling me they don't like text messages. And I've had some pretty colorful language shot back at me. A lot of swear words. I'm married to a farmer, so it's something I haven't heard before out in the field or in the shop or somewhere else. There's a lot of hurtful words. There was, I see a lot of leader names that will say stop, which is just their response back, so they get automatically removed. And it would hurt. I'm like, but I'm a real person. I'm not an AI. I'm not a computer. I'm not somebody's assistant. And even if I was somebody's assistant, I'm still a human, and no human should be talked to that way. And so it hurt. Every single one of them hurt. And I was going to stop sending them because I thought, where does the benefit weigh out here? Right? My feelings, I might get a sale, someone might order, but my feelings, but someone might order, but my feelings. So it was really weighing it out because I wanted to protect myself, right? I wanted to put me first. And then I started to think, but that feels selfish. This isn't one of those situations where I'm saying, I'm not going to show up to this group of people because I know they don't treat me nice, kind of protect myself. This was one of those, this is my team, and this is a platform that I serve, and this is a community that I serve. So it feels very selfish to want to protect my feelings in that. So the text messages that I send are very inspirational. I didn't want people to get these and feel like I was just trying to get them to buy something. I wanted them to really feel valued, and I wanted them to get a text message that just makes them feel happy, because I think we all need that in our life. And so I had thought for about a year, what could I do that would feel good? What feels aligned? What feels right? And so I just do a simple little graphic. I don't know if you can, oh, where did it? Oh, you won't be able to see it. If I do, nope.
You have to stick your face along with the, yeah, like together.
Okay. So can you kind of see that? Okay. So it's just a
Might
simple
be
little
too small.
graphic.
Do you want to WhatsApp me? I can share it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll do that after. So it's just a simple little graphic. Well, actually, everyone might want to see it now, huh?
Yeah. You can just WhatsApp me now, and then I can share it on
Okay,
the
you
screen.
are so much more technical than I am, so bear with me while we try that. Okay, you can see if that works. See if you can open that and see if that works.
Yep. You can continue talking first.
Okay. So the graphic just says, just for the record, not all positive change feels positive in the beginning. And then I had this little write-up that, there you go. And then my write-up that went with it said, and now this is what I'm texting my whole team, says, change can feel overwhelming and absolutely terrifying. And the moment that you introduce even the slightest change, your paradigms will put up a royal battle to resist it. Any idea or goal that you have means that something in your life will change. That's the point. But the feeling can be incredibly unsettling. The key is to not think about the change happening in the moment, or even the work that is required. Instead, move your thoughts so far into the future of the goal already being accomplished. Feel that as your reality. Celebrate it. Live in that moment. That way, the change has already occurred and you have what you desire. It's one of the best life hacks to fire up motivation and catapult you into taking action to make your dreams a reality. Motivation Essential Oil Blend is the perfect companion for this. I love to apply it to my forearms and then add a few drops of Energy Essential Oil Blend to my adrenals. Have you tried this combination yet? Cheers to getting things done and feeling the good energy now. So that's what I send out as my oily team every Wednesday. They get a happy little text from me. And some people respond back saying, screw you. You know, because there's just crabby people out there. I'm just trying to make everybody happy with these happy posts, and there will be some crabby people. And that's just the way it's going to go. And I just send them love back. I write their name down on a piece of paper and drop joy over it as I say, I'm happy to remove you from my broadcasting system. Well, here was a response back I got. And now this has been after a year of sending weekly messages just like this. Somebody messages me and says this: I really have no clue who you are, so you might have the wrong number. But I have to say your messages always seem to come to me at the most absolute perfect timing ever. They've helped me keep motivated. A couple of years ago, my mom passed away from cancer. 3 weeks later, my best friend committed suicide. And a month after that, my girlfriend of 6 years left me and we lost the house we were buying together. I didn't know it yet, but this was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. I fell into a deep depression. I quit my job. I relied on drugs for happiness. but I just recently got sober and I started my own business. And even more recently, I received a huge opportunity with a real estate company as their official contractor. You see, your messages were going to the wrong number, but they were coming to the right person. Thank you so much. I love you and appreciate your words more than you know. Could you imagine if I would have remained too afraid to hit send? Because I got a couple of those, go away, responses back, and people being mean and swearing at me and all the things. And I was ready to say, I can't do this anymore. What if that was the one text message he needed that day that made him smile instead of turning to drugs, or made him feel like he wasn't alone? When I got that message back, I made a decision that day. Every Wednesday for the rest of my life, I am going to mass spam and text my entire team. And I spend over $1,000 a month on Project Broadcast on that system because of the amount of people I have to text. And because of that one response back, I will happily spend that, because somebody's happiness, you cannot put a price tag on. And I got to make him feel welcome. And my simple little silly little text with a little honeybee on it made him feel like he was a part of something he doesn't even know. I've never met the guy. I don't know him. Maybe someday we'll be on a primetime TV show together and he'll be saying, because I got a random text, and it'll be a great story. But what I realized was this: if I have the words that are inspiring, because God sends them to me and through me, if I have the ideas that can change somebody's life, God did not just send that to me because he thinks I'm special. He sent them to me because he knows I could be an outlet to reach a greater audience. It would be very selfish of me to keep that to myself. So if I have the tools, if I have the resources, if I know the things to say, I have a moral and human obligation to say them. If I know it can make one person smile, I have a moral and a human obligation to do that thing that will make that person smile. If I have somebody sitting in front of me and they're talking about how scared they are and how depressed they are, and I just go, oh, that's okay. Well, I'm here for you. That's not enough. If I know the things that need to be said, if I know the things that I can do, if I know the tools and resources, then I have a moral and a human obligation to share that. I have been in that place where I have felt all alone. I have been in that place where I desperately wanted the solution and didn't know how to ask for it. And the very people that knew the answer were sitting right in front of me. And I know exactly the ones who never spoke up. And I know exactly the ones who did. And because of the ones who did, I'm here today. Think about that for a minute. Because of the ones who knew what to say and said it, I'm here today, alive and in front of you. So there is what's called the law of circulation. And the law of circulation has a very, very precise and beautiful function and does not fail. Because these laws are not man-made, man cannot change them. Don't believe me? I encourage any one of you right now to show me that the law of gravity is something you can change or alter. You cannot. So the laws of success are just as finite as the physical laws as well. And so we have the law of circulation. And the law of circulation is that everything must stay in motion. The earth stays in motion. That's a law of circulation. The sun, is it the sun or the earth? I don't know. I almost failed science class. One of those is always moving. The sun moves around the earth, right? gosh, I don't know what the earth was round the sun. The earth must stay in motion. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go back to just talking about oils because that's what I know best. I cannot be a science teacher. So we have the law of circulation, and it states that everything in motion must stay in motion. And so think about the thoughts and the ideas that come to you. That came to you because it was in motion. And it came to somebody else. And so to stay in motion, it must go through that person so that it can come on to you. And then to stay in motion, it must go through you and go on to someone else. So it's a very beautiful law. And so I don't want to be like a miser's chest that will just grab all this information and grab the abundance coming to me and the money and the people and the success and everything else, and then lock it up and then bury it deep so no one else can get to it, and be too embarrassed to share it, and be too worried that if I share it, someone else is going to copy it or duplicate it. And then, oh my gosh, it's not mine anymore. Now I don't look like the smartest person in the room. No. Or I have to be worried that somebody's going to tease me. Or I have to be worried that if I give this all away, then I've got nothing left. Then I have no value. That's all a lie. If you're holding on to it so tight and you have all this abundance floating around you, but you're holding on to what you have so tight, how can you ever grab more unless you open your hands to let go of the tight grip you have on what you currently have so that you can let more of it flow into you? And that's why it is so important that we share our knowledge with other people. And then we have to hope and pray they share that knowledge with other people, and they share that knowledge with other people. And it becomes this continual law of circulation, because the more that you give, the more that's able to then come into you. And so if you're worried that if you share all this knowledge and then you have nothing left, well, then you are greedy. Because greed is not wanting more. Everyone should want more. There's infinite promise to us in the kingdom. Everyone should want more. Wanting it all because you're afraid there's not enough, that's greed. I know that there's more than enough. And this is only fun if we are all winning, right? This is only fun if all of us are in France together. And all of us are on the farms together. And all of us are everywhere together, celebrating everyone and everything. That's when it's really fun. I saw this quote the other day. It was so good. And I did a write-up in my team about it because it was so good. It is our time to normalize big money in the hands of women. Women have a much different energy than men. Our beautiful female energy can move mountains. We can heal so many people. And we can do so many amazing things. And men can do amazing things too. Don't get me wrong. Men can do incredible, incredible things. But for far too long, this idea of wealth and success was favored to a masculine energy. And so we can do such beautiful things with our feminine energy with it. And so I want to, my biggest passion in life is in wanting women to feel confident, in wanting women to feel empowered, and in wanting to ensure that you never are feeling like you are having to hold any portion of yourself back. Because in doing any of those things, you are suppressing who you are, and you can't help anybody that way. And you can't inspire anybody that way. Do we have any questions on any of that so far that you girls saw?
I think everybody's just so mesmerized by the things that you're talking about. They're not thinking yet. They're trying to absorb everything. Like, I actually have never seen our Facebook live comment with no comments.
Oh,
because usually he'll go, oh, da, da, da. They would like say stuff, and I think they're just so absorbed.
I love that. It's so good to just be in the energy of it and just to absorb. So we learn more that way than when we're trying to type, or we're typing a comment, or we're typing, because then you're not being present in the moment. And so to just absorb in that energy is one of the, it's one of the most powerful ways.
We're only getting like, I'm so touched, this is so touching, wow, and then like hearts and that kind of response in the comments.
So I think we have to provide Melissa with a little bit of the background, what currently we're experiencing, because we started since 2 years ago, every year in October, that is our anniversary year for Hong Kong. We started doing like an emotional release kind of thing. So 2 years ago, we started with the Freedom Collection, is it? And then last year it was Feelings Kit, and there's this personal growth set, which includes belief transformation, highest potential, and magnify your purpose. And then this month we're actually working on doing a winter harvest set, which is the Northern Lights Black Spruce, and then the Grand Fir, and then the Blue Spruce set. So we're seeing a lot of people transforming, and as well as having a lot of emotional release, and bringing out the hurt that they've gone through during either maybe their childhood, or maybe their adulthood, or maybe what they're currently experiencing. And so what you have said just now is like a gem for everyone. And I'm sure for three of us must have always experienced people hurting us, and or even, you know, bashing on us. And we've learned that those people are hurt as well.
Yes.
And we also learned that for how we respond to the messages or the actions that they took is how we can control ourselves. And so
hurt people,
yes.
Gretchen. And when you really understand that, hurt people, commit that to memory. Hurt people. And when you commit that to memory and you start paying attention when somebody is mean to you, or if you watch a TV show and, you know, there's some drama going on, or you know, have it happen in your life, remind yourself, hurt people, and then watch what's happening and pay attention, and you can see it. It's so clear. And what I have started to do when that happens, I let them finish, but I remind myself, hurt people. This has nothing to do with me. And this person only knows what they know.
Yeah.
So I just do a little prayer of protection, you know, just God, let me keep my peace. I love to myself. I mean, thank gosh we have our oils for this, right? White Angelica is one of the most amazing. So if I know I'm going to be in the presence of someone like that, I have copious amounts of White Angelica on, which if you don't like an oil, that's the oil you need, right?
Yeah.
And so White Angelica is meant to protect your good energy. So if somebody with bad energy needs what? If you have bad energy, what do you need? You need good energy, right? So are they going to like the smell of White Angelica? No. So the more of it I have on, if I go into an environment like that, I don't even have to deal with negative people because they cannot get far enough away from me. Because they don't like the aroma. They can't handle the aroma. But if you can just watch people like that and remind yourself, right, that this isn't about me. Hurt people, they only know what they know. And then after the person is finished speaking, I simply say this: Are you okay? Is everything okay with you? What's going on in your life right now? And that person does not know how to respond. because they just want to be mad and they just want to hurt you. And you're like, are you okay? Is everything okay in your life right now? Do you need to talk? I'm here for you. They do not know how to handle that response. And another response that I've had with in that situation is I've just looked at that person and I have said, what is your intention in saying that to me? And they do not know how to answer that, because they would have to say, my intention is to hurt you. So you get to watch them just implode in that moment because they don't know what to say. When you just lean in and say, what was your intention in saying that to me? And my third favorite thing to say, and all of these exercises, by the way, are really great ways for you to start building confidence in confrontational situations. And the third thing that I say to them is, well, why would you think it's okay to say that to me? Mm-hmm. And I say that if someone says something that is hurtful or derogatory, condescending or mocking, or gossip. If they come to me and tell me something about somebody else, which we do not have the right to ever speak on someone else's behalf. Mm-hmm. That's Toltec wisdom. You do not speak on someone else's behalf. I will never speak on someone else's behalf. I am not their personal spokesperson or representative. I don't want that responsibility. So to do that is to gossip, and I don't want to gossip. So if somebody says gossip to me, then I just say, why would you ever think it's okay to tell me that? And that just kind of draws the line right there, that I don't engage in this kind of conversation, that it's not okay to talk to me like that. So those have just been some great responses that I like to keep in my back pocket to pull out at any time among peers or professionals or social situations, that if they do not meet my standards, I have set very specific standards and boundaries, standards to the type and quality of conversations that I will allow in my presence. I have no problem walking away from tables. Joanne knows I have no problem walking away from Facebook groups and private conversations among my peers. The moment that it gets negative or gossipy or derogative towards our company, I'm out. I cannot get out fast enough. I'm out. I do not complain. I don't want to be in the presence of complaining. I'm done with those conversations and then I'm out. Sometimes I give an explanation. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just leave. My exit, I'm not an airport. I don't have to announce my departure. I can just leave. And it doesn't need any kind of explanation. No explanation whatsoever. Those have, when I think about, these are the standards I have. These are the boundaries I have, right? So think about it. What are the standards for the quality, the content of the conversations? What are the standards for the people that you will surround yourself with in life? If you want to do better in your life, you have to surround yourself with people who are doing better than you. It doesn't work any other way. You cannot be the smartest person in the neighborhood. If you are, you have to move. Now, that doesn't mean you have to physically move your house. That's a figurative statement saying if you are the smartest one in the group, find a new group. Not leave that one behind, like I'm too good for you, I'm leaving now. But it's go find a new group to engage with. And you can still engage in the other group, but go find a new group to engage with. And the importance of doing this is that you are going to start surrounding yourself with people who are going to show you other possibilities in life, things you could never even imagine. Like, I remember when I first started surrounding myself with people who flew first class. And the first time I sat in a first class seat, which was The first time I sat in a first class seat was coincidentally also the last time I sat in anything that wasn't a first class seat, because once you sit in a first class seat, you will never, ever go in another seat. You will never go back there. Every time I get on a plane, I feel like turning around going, I love all of you. I mean it. You got to get up here. Find a way. Once you do that, you will never, ever, ever again settle for less. And you will always find a way to make it happen. So you will want to hit that next level of success. You will want to enroll one more person or two more people. You will want to hit the milestones, the goals. You will want to do whatever you can. The conversations are different up there. The company is different up there. People are not complaining. People are not rude. Travel is an entirely different experience. And you get off the plane feeling ready to hit the ground running. And you feel refreshed and revived and new. And it's so incredible. And when you start going to different associations of people, and you start hearing how the conversations are different, and you start hanging out with successful mentoring groups, and you start hearing the things they talk about, they're not gossiping. They're not complaining. They're only talking about strategies and how to move forward. They're only talking about solutions, and they're talking about a lot of talk about faith and belief and ideas and visioneering, and it's so refreshing and so beautiful and so good. They're not worried about politics. They're not worried about the world. And if they are talking about those things, they're talking about ways in which they can contribute. Not complaining about, oh gosh, the economy is so bad and what are we going to do? They're talking about, everyone, we gotta, I was thinking about ways to really like spark the economy in our local community. And here are some things I came up with. The conversations are different. And when you start hanging around groups of women where you've set higher standards, those friendship circles, the conversations are different. No one's talking about anybody else, but instead they're talking about, hey, sister, what have you been doing and what have you been up to and what do you need help with? And how's that plan going? How's that idea going? How's everything moving along? Is there anything you need? How can I help you? It's magnificent. Everyone is celebrated, but you would never know that if you don't start surrounding yourself with people who are doing just a little bit better than you so that you can learn from them. The moment that I look around and realize I am the one that's most successful in the group, I need to either bring other people into the group or I need to find an additional group to go be a part of so that I can learn differently. And if these people are not within your physical reach, that's okay. You could join a mentoring group. You could find a mentor, find a coach, find a community, find these places to insert yourself or be a part of. How many of you are striving towards Royal Crown Diamond and you're still at those beginning beautiful ranks of maybe silver or gold or executive or senior star, or whatever it might be? Have you reached out to Joanne? Have you reached out to Gretchen to see when is your next diamond meeting that you're doing with the team? And can I be there to help? I could help prepare the food. I could help clean up. I could help be there to get what you need so your meeting isn't interrupted. Do you know how much that would mean to these girls? It would mean the world to them. And do you know what that would do for you? It would do the world for you, because you would be in that presence. You would be in that energy, and you would get to hear the things they talk about. You would get to see the things that they do, and you would get to learn how they prep for these classes and these events. It's so powerful, and an opportunity that you might be missing because you're afraid to ask or speak up. So you start setting those standards and those boundaries around your relationships, around the quality of life that you expect from yourself. And all of a sudden, people will start to treat you different. You know why? Because you're treating yourself different. I have a cup or two or three of coffee every single morning. I'm not ashamed. And I put in a built-in coffee maker. So my coffee comes out of the wall I've done a few reels, and the comments from people that are like, what the space age Jetsons is that? Her coffee comes out of the wall. I just push a button. And it was a splurge I do not regret. And so I go in the morning and I pull out the little drawer that's underneath. So I hit a button, I turn on my coffee machine, and it does its little rinse and it does its little wake up and get ready. And I pull out this little drawer that's underneath it, and I have this round gold tray. And I take out the gold tray and I set it to the side. And then I take out a saucer, and I take out my mug, and it's from a fine china set. I don't save those for a special occasion because every day is a special occasion, and I am a special occasion. I don't save them for celebrations because every day I am something to celebrate. So I use the good china cup every single morning on a saucer. And I take out my little spoon rest and I put that on the gold tray. I take out a little spoon from my great grandmother's silver set. I do not have it tucked away in a drawer to hand down to my daughter or her daughter or her daughter's daughter. I use it every single day. And I think about my great grandmother when I do, and I polish it so it stays shiny and it stays pretty. And then I have a little crystal cup, and I take my creamer out of the cardboard container from the refrigerator that comes in the store, and I pour that into my beautiful little crystal little creamer cup, and I have a proper little service. And then when my coffee's ready, put it on the saucer. I do my sugar, I do my cream, and then I go sit down in a quiet spot after everyone's left in the morning, and I have my cup of coffee. I have my first cup of coffee this way. Why do I do it that way? Because I think to myself, how would somebody who's at the next financial level from where I'm at, the level after that, the level after that, how would a good trillionaire be getting their coffee this morning? It would be set up on a proper service, and they would go drink it in a quiet place while they gathered their thoughts for the day. Am I created any differently than the trillionaire? No. I'm of the same flesh and blood, created by the same masterful creator. And I should treat myself the same way. And it instantly puts me in a state of abundance, and it immediately puts me into this really high vibration and high frequency. Now, what do you think happens when my leaders come over and they see me prepare my coffee that way? Or they've seen me on a reel or a story drinking my coffee that way. I just had a leader meet up with 5 of my core local girls. And they came over and they make themselves at home. And they know all the buttons on the coffee machine, and they know where everything is. I watched each and every one of them pull out the fine china, pull out the saucer, pull out the cup, and made themselves a proper cup of coffee, and sat down at the table and started the most proper and high standard conversations. How's everyone doing? How's that goal coming along? Where's that idea that you had? What can I do to help? How can I help? I'm here. Just, you know what? Just tell me all about it and inspire me, because you light up when you talk about it. That was the conversation that started that day. I don't think it would be the same if I just drank my coffee out of a styrofoam cup every morning in a chaotic rush as I'm trying to get from here to there and spilling half of it on me. It sets a different tone, and the people around you are watching and they're learning. And 13 years ago, when I started my business, I had $7.13 in my checking account, $7.41. And I was still pouring my coffee the same way, treating myself the same way. Now, when you make that decision to start treating yourself differently, and the people around you see it, they bring a different conversation to the table, and they treat you differently. My husband, I have never, ever, ever asked him to start, like, you know, he gets up first in the morning on Sunday morning. Can you turn on the coffee machine for me? Can you make me a cup of coffee? I've never once asked him that. But every Sunday morning without fail, I can still be laying in bed at 6:30 in the morning, and I can hear the button on the coffee machine, and I can hear it turn on. Makes this little sound. I can hear it turn on from across the house. I can hear the drawer open. And here's my manly man, my farmer man, who would have no problem drinking his coffee from a styrofoam cup. I can hear him take out the tray. I can hear the spoon. I can hear the glass for the creamer. He's got it all set up for me. He treats me like a queen because I treat him like a king. And I treat him like a king because he treats me like a queen. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know who started it first. I never once sat back and thought, well, he doesn't treat me nice, so I'm just going to go treat him like a king and hope he treats me like a queen. It was just something that just started. We just instinctively do it. We've been together 26 years. And I think I can count on one hand the number of times we've fought. We treat him, I treat him like a king and he treats me like a queen. And I don't care and I don't know who started it first. But you know what's interesting? He didn't always support me in this business. Even when I was treating myself like a queen and not understanding why he was, you know, hesitant and resistant. And I remember the day I told him, I'm going to build a business in Young Living. That's going to be my solution out of this. This is what I'm going to do. He said to me, oh my God, don't embarrass the family. That was his reaction when I said, I'm going to build a business in Young Living. I told him we had $7.41 in the checking account. I didn't tell him that. I thought I can fix this and then I won't have to tell him. So I'm just going to make that, I am just going to fix this somehow, and then I'll never have to tell him. It'll be fine. It was probably 3 years later. No, it was 4 years later. I was diamond and I was on a stage in Australia and I was able to bring Wayne with. So he was way across the auditorium of 1,000 people and I was on stage and I thought, well, this is like a safe opportunity because he would have to run across this whole auditorium, across 1,000 people, and to hear me say, this is how bad our finances were, and this is why I wanted to start my Young Living business, that by the time he'd get up here, he'd probably be over it anyway. So the first time he ever learned about it was in that moment. And I will never forget the look on his face. His jaw hit the floor. And afterwards, you know, when I went walking up to him, I'm like, hi. And he's like, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go talk to Bianca. I gotta work. I gotta go take selfies with all these people over here. And then we had a grand old conversation about it afterwards, of which I could say, it's fine. I fixed it all. And it's fine. There's nothing to worry about. But in that moment where I knew I had to fix it, and I thought, okay, Young Living, I'm going to build a business in Young Living. That's going to be my solution. And when I told him about it, and he said, don't embarrass the family, I was devastated. How was I going to build this business knowing that my husband didn't support the idea? I was going to have classes to teach. I was going to have, you know, convention that I was going to need to go to, and I was going to have other events that I would need to attend. And oh my gosh, and here he doesn't support this. And for about the first 6 months, 7, 8, 9 months, it was really tough. Every single time I said, well, I'm going to be gone. I have to teach a class. I was another one. Oh, you're going to be gone again? Again? What do you mean you have to go here? And what do you mean you have to go there? And I would hear things like, you're teaching all these classes and you're only making a few $100s, or you're only making $1,000. Who's enrolling all these people? You're teaching these classes and all these people are coming. Who's enrolling them all? Why are you enrolling them? You're the one teaching. I felt like I constantly had to give him a lesson on how MLM worked, or I was constantly having to justify what network marketing was, or I was constantly have to explain that because I am the leader and they are learning, I'm teaching the class, they're bringing the people, they're enrolling them. It's called building a team. I need legs. I'm building legs. I'm getting legs. And he had no idea what any of this meant. I was frustrated. He was frustrated. We still weren't fighting, but there was a lot of tension. And I was finding this newfound thrill of personal development. And I thought, this is so fantastic. This is so great. I feel good when I study this stuff. I feel great when I'm learning these things. And I feel empowered. And I started feeling really happy. And I started feeling really just, I looked at things differently in life. And my level of gratitude was fierce. I was so grateful for everything. It was like, you know, if you have a couple cocktails and you just love everybody and you love everything and you can't love everything enough and you just have to tell everyone how much you love them. Well, that's how I was without having any cocktails. I would go to classes and I'm like, I just love you guys so much. And I would say to my leaders, like, I am just so happy. This is so great. Isn't this so fantastic? What I know now is I was entering a much higher frequency, a much higher vibration. And I was tapped into such a high level of gratitude because I was seeing the beauty in everything. Gary once said that low frequency people are attracted to low frequency products. Let them leave. So when people leave our business to go to different companies, and we sometimes we can't understand why, low frequency people are attracted to low frequency products. And we have some of the highest frequency products in the world. And that's not going to feel right with everyone. That's not going to resonate right with everyone. And so here we are using these highest frequency products, becoming higher frequency versions of ourselves. So what happens to people around us that are not growing and exploring at the same rate we are? All of a sudden, here's where we were with them. And all of a sudden now here's where we are. And there's this gap in between. And the larger that gap becomes, the more turbulent it becomes. Somewhere along the middle is autopilot. And it feels really good. And this is just where you're coasting along. And it'll come up a little bit, hit it, and then they'll bump back down. But you just keep going and going and going because you're taking the supplements every day. And maybe you started working out and you started really, gaining new confidence and a new outlook on life. And you started tapping into more frequency every day. And you kept growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And they did not. And the gap got bigger. That's what was happening to me and Wayne. So it wasn't that we were fighting. It wasn't that we were arguing, but it's that gap was getting bigger and that more of that tension was able to be felt. And it got really uncomfortable. And I'm so grateful that I know what I know. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful I know what I know so that I could understand what was really happening. And all it took was communication. Because what is frustration anyway? It's unmet expectations. That's all frustration is, unmet expectations. So what was he expecting? And what was I not meeting the mark on? And what was I expecting? And what was he not meeting the mark on? And what can solve it all? Communication. That's all, just communication. So I had a talk with him and I said, I've never been this happy in my entire life. I just feel different. I feel like I've spent my whole life searching for something and all of a sudden this feels like home. And I just want to show all these moms how to do the things my grandma taught me to do and how to make their own cleaners, and how to do better, how to lessen their carbon footprint on this world. how to take care of their kids in that different way as a mom. That's all we want. And I just want to keep creating communities because it feels so magnificent to be a part of one. And it just makes me happy. And I just want to keep doing this. But it kills me to think that you don't want me to do this. This thing that makes me so happy. Why wouldn't you want me to be happy? And he said, I want you to be happy. But you're saying things like you're doing all the work and your leaders aren't showing up and they're not enrolling people and where's this all going? And you seem scared all the time. That's the opposite of happy. And I don't want you to be scared. So yes, I'm going to tell you like, well, maybe you shouldn't do this and maybe this isn't working because I don't want you to be this way. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm only saying those things because I thought you were frustrated with me and I was feeding off of that. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, can I just be happy? He's like, yes. For the love of God, go be happy. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm just going to go teach classes and go do a Zoom and just do all the things now. Isn't it crazy that we just needed communication? I was assuming he was mad. He was assuming I was unhappy and frustrated. And really, I was just sad because I just knew that these girls could be so much happier if they would just step into this. And if they would just do the things they're afraid of. And they wouldn't need to feel jealousy, and they wouldn't need to feel anger, and they wouldn't need to feel frustration. And that's what was getting me. It wasn't doing the work that was making me frustrated. It was seeing them not win. It was making me sad because I was sad for them. And so Wayne and I would have the most beautiful conversations about it. And then when he would say, but you're teaching a class again and you're teaching a class again, he was assuming I was getting exhausted and tired and frustrated because I wasn't able to keep up with things at home that I felt I needed to keep up with. Turns out he didn't care and he knows how to use the laundry machine. And I was just assuming I was supposed to do all the things. And he's like, no, but you're running around like a crazy woman thinking you need to do all the things. Communication is amazing. So all I asked him was, can you please just give me a year? Give me a year of nothing but support. No more long drawn out sighs and you have to teach another class, that German that we do, right? Like no more of that. And just support me and love me and cheer me on and be my hype guy. Just give me a year of nothing but support, even if you have to fake it. I'm just asking for a year. And if at the end of this year, at the end of it, I am no farther than I am today, I'll walk away from it all. And I will tell you every day for the rest of your life that you were right and I was wrong. And he said, then go ahead. And I went, shit. Now I have to do it. I said I was going to do it, and now I have to do it. When we had that conversation, I was of gold. At the end of that year, I was a diamond. It is amazing what happens when the space to grow is given to you, right? Because if you're holding on to it all, then you're afraid. You can't let anything in. Oh, I don't want it. I can't let go. I can't change. What happens if I change? If you just let, then you can capture and grab all of the abundance around you. You can capture all of the ideas flowing into you, including the ideas for the conversations and the beautiful communications, and the ideas for the classes and the content and the strategy and all the things. The more that you convince yourself it's not there and it's not coming to you and this is hard, the less you're going to see it. You know what? This job might be easy. I might have to prove it. I might, just like I did when I told Wayne, give me a year. What did I have to do? I had a year to prove it. And if I was going to binge watch crap on Netflix, Is that proving it? No, instead I watched things like Live to 100. I watched every episode of Dr. Oz. Why would I watch those things? I got so much class content. It was unbelievable. Because I had no money. I couldn't get to a lot of things. That I will never forget. It was a Dr. Oz show. And that's where I learned what 5 core supplements you need. And I thought, okay, well, what are the Young Living things of those 5 things? Right here, I have a class. And I would watch every single Martha Stewart show because I got cleaning tips and hacks and all of the little things. And I would think, how can I make this oily? How can I make this a Young Living thing? How can I make this a class? I still have the notebook I kept. Every single one of those shows I watched, I took notes. Class ideas, strategies, content, all of it. I had a year to prove it. I had a year to prove that I could do it and put everything into action. I had a year to prove that from a town of 76 people, I could build a multi-million-dollar empire from my tiny little farm. So it might be easy. You might have to prove it. Either way, I was all in. This was going to work. I was going to have the hard conversations. I was going to audit my circles. I went through seasons of solitude where I was the only one. The girl we were talking about on the bus, to this day, she still won't answer my text messages, and she's one of my leaders. And I just bless and release. I just bless and release, let her go. I pray abundance over her every day. Every day. I just want her to be happy. Doesn't have to be with me. I just want her to be happy. I've lost friendships. I've lost family. I've been mocked. I've been ridiculed. There's a lot of family events I don't go to. I don't get invited to. I get uninvited to. Because my presence challenges them. I'm not intimidating. They're intimidated. And that's a big difference. I don't make them uncomfortable. I don't do that to people. But my presence challenges them. My frequency challenges them. But as a result of stepping into that higher frequency and bringing that true essence of myself to the surface, I've never looked more healthy. Joanne did not even recognize me in the Grand Caymans. I had a full-on conversation with her and she did not recognize me. Alan and Linda Simpson from Australia, full conversation with them. The next day, Linda walks up to me in the lobby and says, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I thought I knew you. And turns out I didn't know you at all. Thought you were Melissa Poepping. I'm like, Linda, I am. My daughter was standing next to me and she's like, what the hell? This is the most awkward conversation I've ever been a part of. But my daughter didn't know what to say. She's like, what is happening? Because Linda's like, no, you're not. And Paige is like, yes, she is. I've never looked this healthy. I've never felt this healthy. I've never felt this alive. It's because I brought the true essence of who I am to the surface. That's what that is. People ask, what was the oily secret? What was the supplement secret? I'm just living life. Finally brought her to the surface. And it didn't matter who was going to have a problem with it. It didn't matter who was going to mock me. It didn't matter who. It just didn't matter. What matters is how this feels and how many more people that I've been able to serve and help as a result of that. So it might be easy. You might have to prove it. But either way, go all in. Double down on yourself. It's the most amazing and safest bet you will ever make in your entire life. And it's how you win. It's how you win. It's how you win big. Life is too short, way too short, to spend it with anyone who's not going to see that greatness in you. And have the conversations. Have the tough conversations. Don't assume. Don't assume. I just mended a relationship the other day that was incredible. It was a very, very important relationship to me. Ended over a grand miscommunication And I sent an email and I said, it seems silly that as two grown women, we would sit here feeling the same way. And if given the opportunity, I would really love the chance to handle the conversation the way that I wish I would have earlier this spring. And then I proceeded to do the new conversation the way that I wished I would have had. And everything was mended. Everything was mended. And it happens because of communication. It happens because of beautiful communication. So, my friends, I hope you feel inspired.
Wow.
I don't know how bad I went over. I went way over on time, I think.
Oh, it's okay. I
totally
think
good.
we're all soaked into your conversations, your words of wisdom, and it's really inspiring for many of us. I want to tell you that besides our people on Zoom, we have almost 30 people on our Facebook Live as well, listening to your words of wisdom. It's amazing.
Good. Well, let me know if there's any questions or anything just through translation that you girls need. You know, I'm here.
So far we've got comments like they're thanking you, you're amazing, great sharing. And Christina said, yes, Melissa, you've transformed and changed so many. Thank you for your sharing. It was powerful. And yeah, I have to agree that when I saw you in Grand Cayman in June, was it June or May? I was like, is that Melissa?
Yeah.
It really looks like her, but it doesn't look like her. That's not what she looks like. But everything else looks like Melissa. And I remember I walked up to you and I go, Melissa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amazing. It's really amazing what you've done. And you look really different. Like not only was your skin much better, the whole energy, your face.
Yeah, it's the energy. I mean, I lost a significant amount of weight, but so much more than that. Just my whole energy changed. It really did. And that's
like
what
a new
happens
person.
when you come into your true authentic self.
Yes.
It's just so good.
Yeah,
I wish somebody could have put me aside like 20 years ago. Like I think of all that time. And that's the thing is when you reach that point and you look back and you're like, all that time wasted on silly nonsense, you know, and stinking thinking, you know, like as you think this way or think that way and you hold yourself back. Like you look at all that time spent holding yourself back and who paid the price? Who paid the price? Because I will tell you, the people we were trying to impress, they don't care. They don't, in the end, they don't care anyway. The interesting thing that I've discovered is they were never going to celebrate you when you were winning. And they only want to celebrate you when you're losing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter. You're not going to impress them either way. And so it's just so sad because you think all the people that I could have impacted or all the people that I could have helped. And so then you arrive at the point, get there as quickly as possible, arrive at the point and just make the decision. Well, now I'm coming for everyone I could have helped and then some. Like now is my time and like the most rapid pace. I can't help enough people. Like,
Yeah.
You can't shut them down at this point.
I think all the hurt and all the really hurtful feelings that we experience is actually part of growing. And if we didn't go through all those hurt, we couldn't have become what we are today, and we couldn't have shared what we have experienced and inspired everyone like how you inspired us.
There is nobody better positioned than you to help the person you once were.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful for those experiences I went through because I think of all the people that I'm able to help. And all of you know Marcella von Harding, I'm sure.
Yes,
and
she's our upline.
Oh, we're cousins then.
Yeah.
Vaughn does facial reading. And one of the facial readings is if you have these really defined lines right here, it's a sign of really deep rooted emotional trauma. Like you've been through some really deep emotional trauma. And what's interesting is when I think of the people in my life that I'm closest to, we all have this. but we're attracted to people who are similar to us, right? So they might be similar in facial features. So of course we would attract people who've been through, also deep emotional trauma. But what's interesting is as I've really started to heal that trauma, mine is lessening a little bit. And
Wow.
part of me is sad to see that, because I still want to be able to attract those people in because I want to be able to help them, right? But it's a celebration because I know that I'm healing from that as well. But I've reached a point in my life where I don't want to say I'm proud, I'm grateful for that trauma because of the people that, I'm now able to help with it. But yeah,
I think I love the part about you saying that empowering ourselves, right? And we were talking about, I think this trauma, we have it in Chinese face reading too. And you know how when you look at a person, it looks like they're always not smiling?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's because this is very deep. And as they
yeah.
become happier, it will lessen. And that we actually, Gretchen, we have a girl in the Zoom right now who is exactly that. The first time I saw her, she will know who I'm talking about. First time I saw her, I said she looks so sad. Even when she's trying to smile, the corner of her lips would not turn up. And it would shake. But now she can smile. It has only been 6 months. And I know because I saw that and I saw her lips, the corner of her lips, not able to turn up when she's smiling. But now she is able to. And she used a lot of oils. I think Gretchen knows who it is. And I think the person knows who I'm talking about. She's used a lot of oils and she has changed so much because she believes in the oils and because she believes in her leader. And it's amazing how when they are willing to step out of their discomfort and use the oils and believe in themselves, how fast that change can be.
Yes.
It's amazing. And the thing with, we have all these tools to empower other people and all the traumatic experience that we've had so that we can be empathetic, so that we know how to go through it, so that we can share with these people who are willing to help themselves to go through with it, right? And we can bring them up faster. And I think it's amazing. I love the things that you've talked about just now.
So when we go through those transformations with someone, that creates the most profound, loyal, long-lasting relationships. Like I'm in a fitness group. I have a workout device called the Mirror, and it was originally created by an independent company, and then they sold to Lululemon, and now they sold to Peloton, and so this fitness device is going to come to an end. It's just, and it reminds me so much of the Savvy thing too, right? Like you think this is a good acquisition and everyone's going to benefit from it, and then all of a sudden the company decides, no, we're going to, go a different way. And you have all these people devastated because these connections have happened. And so I'm watching this thing happen within this fitness community. And I'm like, yeah, I saw that coming. This was not going to go well. I saw this whole thing coming. This is how it works. But everyone is devastated. I mean, there are people that are genuinely, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's the relationships we've built and the community that we've built. And I started thinking about it. I sat back and I'm looking at this, like the relationship we have even with the personal trainers. I went through a massive physical transformation. With that physical transformation became one of the most profound emotional transformations that I've ever gone through in my life too. And it pulled me out of depression. It pulled me out of turning to alcohol for comfort. It took me away from turning to food for comfort. It made me feel the most empowered I've ever been in my life. And that's what a really solid, profound fitness journey will do. But I didn't just go through that myself. I went through that with my trainers. I went through that with other people that are active in this community. So we all went through this together. And because we all went through a traumatic transformation of life together, we have a really strong connection to one another. And I started thinking, who are my most loyal leaders? Who are my strongest leaders? It's the ones that we have gone through a really traumatic emotional experience together, and we've bonded together, and we've come together as a community. This is when you can open up among your leaders and go through a transformation together. This is how you start to build an unbreakable community. You show up, you be vulnerable, support one another. You're really there to just, I mean, my God, the things we help each other to think about, the things we do in this company. That wouldn't happen if we were selling jewelry. Do you realize this? If this were a jewelry company, this would not happen. But think, why do people come into Young Living? Sadness, depression, anxiety. There's a health need, a fitness need. There is some profound, dramatic need in their life. We have something in this company that is so unique that very few other companies have. There's other MLMs that are just cleaning products. Do you think people bond over emotional transformations because their kitchen floor? No, they don't. Or because you were able to get together and accessorize with jewelry? No, nobody healed generational wounds because of a really great necklace. Or a really awesome toilet cleaner. That does not happen. It happens in this company because you can take out an oil called release, and you can watch somebody have one of the most powerful emotional transformations, and you are there to hold them, and you are there to hug them, and you are there to comfort them, and you are there to walk that process with them. And we have techniques called the raindrop, where you see people go through some of the most profound physical transformations. I did a raindrop once on a girl who was a quadriplegic and paralyzed from the neck down. And the moment we started dropping oils on her back arched. Me, the mom, her upline, we just all immediately started crying. Immediately. That is an emotional bond that cannot be broken. I'm the first person a lot of people call when they get pregnant. I know before the husband knows. That is a connection. Sometimes I get the first call when they go into labor because they want to know, but God bless, what do I do? To the hospital, wherever it is you're going, and call your husband. and then you call me because, oh my God, we're gonna have a baby. Like, we celebrate together, we cry together, we mourn together. Don't ever let it be lost on you what we have in this company. It's just think about it for a minute. And that's what we build with our community. Could you imagine not having the courage to go talk to total strangers to bring more people into that community? Do you know how many people are alone right now and don't have people, or they're looking for more people? Go be their people. I mean, we're awesome. We're nice. We smell pretty. Who would not want to be friends with us? Who?
Absolutely. You're so right. And we say that, well, when we were in Croatia, we were talking about empowering ourselves because this is a big topic for us too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about there are a lot of us who want to go and help the people who are in a lower frequency. And we've learned that if you try to go to help them in their lower frequency, in order to help them, you have to lower your frequency, which sometimes drag us down, right? So instead of doing that, we hold space in our own frequency. And when they're ready, they will enter. And when they're not ready, they will say no. And it's okay. So Gretchen likes to say this, we don't give up. Well, in Chinese, it's 冇放棄 is 放低, right? So we don't give up on them, but we give them time.
Yes.
Yes. So we're still here. They always know that we're always here. We're always gathering. Whenever they're ready, they're welcome to join in. And I think that's important in empowering ourselves too as a topic is that we have to stay within our community and stay our high vibration and let the other people know that we're here and we're always open. We're always here to support. Yeah.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
So in
so
English,
blessed.
it's we don't give up, but we give them a break.
But we give them a what?
Give them a break.
Yes, I like that. I like that. Always hold space. Always hold space.
So yeah. Thank
Well,
you
we
so
don't have any
much.
questions. Yeah. We can listen to you talk all day, but it's probably late there, right?
It's a good group. I love and appreciate you so much.
Thank you. So nobody has any questions for you. What time is it over there?
It is
Almost
just
10.
on 9:45.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's not too bad. Okay.
No.
Well, does anybody have any questions for Melissa? If you're on the Zoom, you can just open your mic and ask.
Yeah.
Or if you're not sure, you can type it in Chinese in the chat room and we will ask her. Well, I think the people online are all just mesmerized.
So for people who are on Facebook group at the Facebook Live, you're welcome to come into our Zoom and ask Melissa questions. And by the end of the Melissa sharing, we're going to take a group picture. So I encourage you to come in to join us for a group picture afterwards. So for now, are there any questions or sharings, or you want to thank Melissa? You're free to open up your mic and share.
Yeah, or if you have a situation that you're struggling with, you want to ask her for her opinion or a suggestion, you also feel free to do that.
It's very rare that we can invite
nobody
Melissa.
seems
Please,
I think
please
they all
grab
just
your opportunity.
Trying to process all the information.
When I do my Zoom for basic, I don't get a lot of questions either, and it's usually just people like I'm writing or they're absorbing. So I'm used to that. Yes.
Okay, we're getting a lot of hearts in the Facebook. Yep, tons of hearts.
And there might be things that you need to translate too, and then it might make sense later on that it just didn't. It maybe make sense tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So are we taking a group photo now?
Yeah. Let's do a photo.